Oftentimes, when we think about Thumbelina, we think about the Don Bluth movie, the Disney knockoff with the same voice as Ariel that has a very divisive feelings about it. You love it or you hate it. But when I think Thumbelina, what I think about is a little girl who is naughty but nice, and then she got a big surprise.
She was naughty but nice, and she got a big surprise. 'Cause all of a sudden she was tiny as a button, smaller than a thumb, no bigger than a crumb. Oh, what will become of Thumbelina?
Hey everyone, I'm another bad salad, and I am here to talk about cartoons, anime, magical girls, cartoon family sitcoms, and anything that tickles my fancy. And today we are talking about one of my favorite things growing up, which was Thumbelina: A Magical Journey, a anime movie about Thumbelina, but not exactly. This, instead of being a story about Thumbelina, is a story about a young girl named Maya who gets transferred to the storybook of Thumbelina and goes through the story of Thumbelina. If you don't know what Thumbelina is, it is a fairy tale made by Hans Christian Andersen about a young girl born from a flower who then goes through just a bunch of misfortune, mostly just men trying to objectify her. And in the end, she gets her petal prince and everything is fantastic. But this story is really different, and I really like that. And it's something that I tend to talk about with anyone who will let me. So here I am, hoping I can find more people who will want to listen to me talk about this obscure retelling of Thumbelina. So before we get into that, I want to give you a little bit of history about it because I think this is really interesting because I didn't know about this stuff till recently, even as someone who watches this movie quite a few times a year just for the nostalgia. So, it originally came out in September 1992 and was actually a show having 26 episodes and running until March of 1993. It was then picked up by Starmark in December of 1993, and Jim Terry was said to give it an American release because it originally just had a Spanish language and Japanese release. Unfortunately, though, instead of coming out with the entire show, they managed to squish 26 episodes down to an 80-minute movie. Now, this is something I never saw as a kid, really, or even knew. I just watched this as a single movie. I didn't realize that it was cut up of other things, but definitely going through now as an adult, I can see that. You can access the show now and watch it with English subtitles, but I'm a little sad that I don't get a dub with all of these voice actors because there's something just so nostalgic for me. But if you would like to watch the full series, you absolutely can. I, however, have not prior to this because I want to go into this fully with just what I know about what they have given me as the media that I got to absorb as a kid. Does that make sense? Let's get into this before I don't stop blabbing, and then this just gets annoying. So our story opens up with Maya's mother going to see a local town witch. Local town witch, always cool. Always down for a town with a local town witch. And she is complaining about her daughter Maya, who is apparently just a problem, a nuisance, a menace to society, and rude and callous. She does say she is a sweet little girl, she's just misguided. So this witch gives her a book and says, read this to her. You have to make sure she is organically interested in it, but read it to her, and then when you wake up, you will have a perfect daughter. And she takes this. Now, suspicious, suspicious. Given a magical book to fix your problems, suspicious. Not saying it's not suspicious, but I feel like maybe there's like a whole episode of Maya just being crazy until her mom reached to this. Because from what we kind of see, it's not so bad, just her being a little bit rude. So, now we cut to the shack where Maya and her mother live. I call it a shack, but it's actually a cute cottage. Just realized how smudged my glasses are. Hang on. So we show up at the cottage, and Maya's mother is cooking dinner, and Maya shows up and says she has a surprise. And it's a frog, and apparently her mother is afraid of frogs, and she doesn't let her keep it. Maya's mother says, I have a surprise for you too. I got you a book. And Maya's not into it. This girl doesn't read. This girl's illiterate. She lives in a small town in the middle of nowhere. You're lucky that she even knows basic math. She probably doesn't. I was going to say she'll be burned as a witch, but obviously witches thrive in this town, so maybe she does know math. But Maya's mother basically negs her into letting her read her the story of Thumbelina, and it works. Maya and her mother sit down, and Maya starts listening to her mother, but very, very shortly after, her mom falls asleep. And Maya leaves because her mom just fell asleep while reading a story, and she's whatever. But she did get interested. So she turns around to go pick up the book and read it, and then magic happens, and Maya gets shrunk down into Thumbelina. Maya then has an existential crisis, and honestly, the scene where Maya is like begging her mom to wake up is actually really scary. Eventually, Maya just falls asleep, and here is where our story starts. Enter the Frog family. And first off, I will say the fit on these two, amazing. Great. But then you remember that they are literally here because they want to steal Maya for a wife for their son, Hoppy. Now, we all know if you've watched Don Bluth's Thumbelina that this is something that happens in the story, but it doesn't excuse the fact that this is a 10-year-old child at minimum, at max 13, and you are trying to force her into a marriage. Fix yourselves. But there's magical wind that pops up quite a few times in this movie, and this is one of the moments because while they're carrying her out, they end up dropping her, and Maya lands in a flower, just like Thumbelina. And then she has an encounter with a mean, angry rat. Also, this rat's outfit, okay, it's okay. I don't know. I feel like I need to judge everybody's outfits in this. It's okay. It's mid. It's mid. It does not compare to Miss Frog's amazing little gown. I just love it. Love the pink, love the ruffle. The rat ends up chasing Maya, getting a hold of her shoe, but before he can actually eat her, a magical light shows up, and it is the good witch Angela, who is there to help Maya and explain what's going on. We love an exposition witch. She then explains to Maya that this is the land of dreams and that Maya needs to travel to the land of South to wake up and get out of here. To help her, Angela gives Maya a magical set of red shoes and telling her she needs to go and find the crystal prince in the land of South. But she cannot use these magical shoes for any other reason besides selflessness. She cannot use her magic selfishly. It's charmed rules. No personal gain. Also, the red shoes are a reference to another Hans Christian Andersen story. I looked up a lot of the episodes of the show. I didn't watch them, obviously, like I said, but I did notice that a lot of them were stories from other tales and other books, and there's a lot of Wizard of Oz imagery in this movie, so I feel like it was a magical journey through maybe other stories, and this was one of them because The Red Shoes is a story by Hans Christian Andersen. Maya instantly decides that she is going to use them selfishly and decides to run south. Side note, I always think of this when I need to know where north, south, east, and west is because I always think of Maya going, the sun sets in the west, and then that's how I remember. I know that the sun does set in the west, but that's how I first learned it. A fun fact. Funny how the brain works. And then Maya starts running. And now is the time where I'm going to talk about the music in this because it is fun. It is great. Just like. When you wear red shoes, you must choose to use their spell to do nice things for all your friends. It makes it good for well. It's apparently all by a band called Bullets. I cannot find anything because the band that I can find that's based like named this isn't this band. So I just have to watch this to get some of these bangers. I showed you guys the opening at the beginning of this video, and it is so good. It gets stuck in my head all the time. And another funny thing about the music is it's very just talking about what's going on right now. Like this song just straight up explains the rules of the red shoes again, just in musical form. I'm not against it. I like it. Campy, fun, 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 fun. Maya ends up just back at where she started because the magic didn't work that way. And she then gets transported to the land of sweets and meets Noble, a sugar fairy who I love his design. I love this little blue pointy head star on the forehead. He's just so cute. He's also annoying and useless. He was sent to protect Maya, and I guess useless is a bad word, but as we'll see, I'm gonna have what I call the Noble Pwned counter, and it will pop up later. I promise you. But while there, he tries to explain to her that, hey, you can't be selfish. Angela said, you can't be selfish. And she decides she's going to go on without Noble. She doesn't want to deal with this little sugar fairy. And while she's walking away, she notices her mother and her village, but it is obviously a trap. She knows that this is the land of dreams, and she goes towards it, and turns out it's our antagonist, an evil witch Cassandra, who has an amazing design. Now I'm going to talk very quickly about both Angela and Cassandra's designs. Angela being just this beautiful floral, like chrysanthemum head, gorgeous, love this. And then Cassandra just looking menacing. She's like swirling fabric, almost has like a mask of a face of like, it's so cool. It's so cool. I love her. I love them. I think they're amazing designs. But then she does get fended off by Noble. Yay! We have Noble doing something good. Don't get used to it. And after that, she decides, okay, maybe traveling with the magical sugar fairy that can protect me is a good idea. So they are off on the journey, and we are kind of officially started now. While our duo is walking through a forest, they run into the frog family and introduce Hoppy, my honestly least favorite character. I softened up a little bit as I was writing this review, but at the same time, I'll explain why I don't like Hoppy. He's there to marry Maya, and of course, Maya does not want to. She has things to do. She has to go south. She has a prince to visit and a mom to wake up. So she, with the help of Noble, tries to get away, but unfortunately, Noble doesn't do a good job and she falls. But her cat, Dinah, mind you, is a Alice in Wonderland reference, walks over the open book of Thumbelina, and then they see a giant cat walking over them, and the frogs get scared, and in that time, Maya and Noble fly away. And while they fly away, they run into some pixies, and we take a few minutes just for a silly little song about pixies, how they don't cry. They sing, they dance, they play, but they'll never cry. I just the song just makes me just
We sing, we play, we make.
so good. It's so good. And I love the pixies. They're very cute. I love the design. The art in this is amazing. The character designs in this, amazing. Maya's outfit, amazing. We're not getting into it yet because it's not finished. We'll get into that later. But after this, Noble and her show up to a rainbow lake. It's super pretty until Maya ends up being a little too feisty and running on and playing on a lily pad, joking for Noble to come get her. And then Noble tells us that he cannot get wet because he's made of sugar, so he will melt. So it's very similar to like Wicked Witch of the West rules, like that. That's fun lore. That's fun fairy lore. I like that. That's cool. And so while she's floating away, an unfortunate thing happens. The frogs are at the bottom of the lake. God damn it. The frogs at the bottom of the lake end up sneaking up and capturing Maya and shooting Noble when he goes to save her out of the sky into the water, and he starts to melt. And then Maya is taken away. So we are just to assume that Noble is dead. So, Noble pwned counter. Now we are in the next part of our story where Maya has to interact with this creepy frog family who I hate. So we learn that she is going to be held captive to marry Hoppy, and Hoppy is currently at the local frog witch. Love that it seems that every town has a witch. Love that. Don't love this witch though, because what she's doing is giving Hoppy magical strawberries, and these strawberries will turn Maya into a frog if she eats all three. Eating one gives you the heart of a frog, two, the face of a frog, and three will turn you into a frog. And this I hate. And this is one of the things I hate because Hoppy's so excited about this. Hoppy is so excited about this. We'll get to why this is even more morbid later, by the way, even though already wanting to. There's so many levels wrong about this, but it gets worse. There's like another layer to this that we'll talk about later. Trust me, we're going to get into Hoppy. But Hoppy does go back, and Maya, locked in a room, sits with him, and he's like, Noble's dead. You might as well come here. Be my wife. I do like Hoppy's fit. I like his hat. I don't like him, but I like his hat. So, Maya then lies and says that she's going to the land of South to marry the Crystal Prince. But Hoppy kind of just is like, that's not true. Like, you're lying, girl. You're like, you and I are both children, but you are definitely also a child. I don't know if other people are this creepy, and we'll learn that they're really not, but like, I don't know if that's true. but she insists. So he leaves her with the strawberries, and she obviously doesn't know that they're cursed strawberries. And she does go to eat one until a grasshopper shows up. This grasshopper's like, "Man, I'm hungry," and asks if he can have some. And then Maya very graciously says, "Have some." And he likes it and then eats a second, and his head turns into a frog head. And she instantly realizes there's something wrong. So she gets a scheme ready. She is going to throw the other one away and then lies to them and says, "Oh, I ate one but dropped the other two down the hole over there. So we need to go get more strawberries." But I am absolutely in love with Hoppy. This is great. Let's go. So Hoppy and Maya go to the scary forest so they can get more strawberries from the witch. And while there, Maya ends up tricking Hoppy and pushing him into a lake and running away. And while she does that, a snake shows up. Scary, spooky snake. And then we get this banger of a song.
It's real, not a fake, not a dream.
So good. It's so good. I will never get over the music in this. It is. It's just telling you what's going on. It's just explaining that it is a snake. How is that not great? How is that not fun? Camp. Love it. Hoppy does jump in front of the snake to protect Maya at one point, and then Maya, to save Hoppy, gets her shoes to help her jump and run away, and she and Hoppy get to safety, though Hoppy is very damaged. Maya and Hoppy then have a heart to heart where she explains that no, she's not going to marry a prince, but she is going so she can save her mom and go see her again. And then Hoppy explains why he's getting married so young is because frogs don't have the same lifespans as everyone else, so they get married really young. That is sad, but at the same time horrifying for Maya. She was just about to get turned, so not only would she be turned into a frog, her mentality changed, her body changed, but then she is going to die sooner than she would have. And you want me to have empathy for this boy? No, sorry. Next. So, Hoppy and Maya go back to Hoppy's house, and Hoppy's parents are obviously upset that their child is damaged, and just tie Maya up and put her on a lily pad. Okay, more kidnapping. Seems that Hoppy was too weak to say anything or protest because he's passed out on the couch. And Maya then, luckily, gets saved by Noble! He's back! Something horrifying happened where he did, in fact, melt. Noble completely melted, but then he just washed up on the shore and dried out. I know that this is a happy moment because we have Noble back, but at the same time, that's horrifying. There are like genuinely really dark, like classic fairy tale moments in that. And a sugar fairy's body completely dissolving and then drying up so he could take form again is one of those things. He tries to save Maya, but really to no avail because he can't untie her just in time for everybody to come because there was a lookout. This little weirdo. Look at him. I hate him. I hate him and I hate his face. And they go to force feed Maya a bunch of strawberries, which I hate this. I hate this so much and I hate them all. But luckily, Hoppy comes out and is like, "Hey, don't do that. You stop it." And saves Maya with a little speech saying that she deserves to go be happy and have her own life. And his parents agree and are willing to let Maya go. And everything is hunky dory. You still can't really get me to like Hoppy or this family. You really can't get me to like this goddamn family. With that concluded, Maya and Noble fly off on new adventures. Noble, we will see, will never catch a fucking break. Maya and Noble show up to a desert where they encounter a scary blue fox in clown makeup. This is Croven, a evil wizard creature who is a subject of Cassandra and honestly just there to only go after Noble, really. Because almost instantly, Noble gets swallowed up by Croven. Horrifying! I'm so sorry, Noble Pone Counter. Maya runs away and goes into a log, and while Croven is trying to get her, another fox shows up and starts just beating him up. Now, here's the thing: you are a magical wizard with shapeshifting powers, and you are getting your ass handed to you by an actual, factual, just fox. Not a magical fox, not a speaking fox, not some fox who is just like better, just a fox. And Cassandra shows up to say exactly that. That, what are you doing? Like, what is this? And Croven says, "Hey, but I swallowed the sugar fairy." And Cassandra's like, "I don't care. That's not who I'm after. I'm after the little girl in red shoes. That's like, what are we doing here? Like, this entire thing is so I can capture her, okay? Get it together, Croven." Now we have Noble gone again. Sad cry. There is actually this really sad moment where while Maya is sitting in the desert just trying to figure out what to do, she sees a dragonfly and chases after it because she thinks it's Noble. This always made me kind of sad as a kid. Like, I don't love Noble, but this is sad and just it's a little moment. It's a little bit of softness from Maya, and we've been seeing it throughout the movie that Maya is softening up and becoming a more likable person. I wish that maybe that they showed her being a little bit more unlikable in the beginning, besides just a little bit of brattiness, but it's nice to see. Maya then shows up to a door, and it turns out this is the house of Miss Fieldmouse. Mrs. Fieldmouse, we all know her as the mouse that was trying to marry Thumbelina off to a mole for money, voiced by Carol Channing. This this Field Mouse does none of that, and I am very grateful. I don't need two storylines of Maya trying to get married off. I'm cool with just one. I'm not even cool with one, but I can deal with it. Miss Feed Miss Field Mouse feeds Maya and tells her that, hey, you're not the only person here. Turns out Poppy's back because he ended up deciding to go and help Maya because he obviously still has a little bit of a crush on Maya, but wanted to help her get to the land of South so she could see her mom again. Being helped out by a swallow who, while flying him, unfortunately gets attacked by a hawk, both of them falling, and Hoppy getting rescued by Miss Fieldmouse and the swallow somewhere out there unfortunately dying. Hoppy asks Maya to go and find the swallow because he helped him out, so she decides to. Does come across him, but unfortunately, he is slowly losing his life. And then the witch Angela shows up and gives Maya a pendant that will give her healing powers if she believes enough and is kind enough. And she is kind enough, and she ends up healing the swallow. Maya's outfit is complete. We are going to talk about the fit. I love this. I love Maya's outfit. I love the ribbon in her hair. I love the almost Alice in Wonderland-esque outfit with the little apron and the red and the shoes. And I love this pendant. This pendant is strangely creepy, and I kind of like it. So the swallow ends up flying Hoppy and Maya to the land of South. But as they get to a lake, the hawk shows up again. I don't know what this hawk is up with. We get no more information besides these two hawk attacks, what this hawk is doing. But he is aggressive, and he is very angry at this swallow for some reason. Maybe he owes him money. And Hoppy end up falling into the lake and then traveling together for a little bit until they are met by Noble. Noble's back, y'all. Oh, we love to see it. Managed to crawl through Croven's body into his nose, where he turned into a feather duster and got sneezed out. Okay. After traveling through this little jungle where nothing happens for a few minutes, they end up in the land of South, which is really colorful, full of rainbows, and absolutely lovely. Honestly, this is where the animation of this really thrives. You could see all the colors, all the way that everything blends in. It's just lovely. Honestly, this entire movie has beautiful animation, and it's one of the reasons I'm going to probably go back and watch the entire show. They show up in the land of South and are tired, so they decide to sit on these really colorful rocks. Well, it turns out these rocks are tea tables made of turtles that are hobbits tables. Tables for hobbits. Hobbits? Hobbits. These little guys? But here they look like these little guys? Okay. We then get a little shot of Cassandra and Krobin just being menacing, and Cassandra talking about her evil plans to fuel a dark crystal. Okay. But she's doing this by sucking away the life force of her mother while she sleeps. Here is one of those things I feel like maybe would have popped up more in the show, and I feel like maybe we would have gotten more of Cassandra being an antagonist because so far she's only popped up to actually antagonize Maya once. They don't have any more personal interactions, and I think that that makes her seem like less of a villain. Honestly, I get why they had to do the Hoppy story and add that so that they would have a reason for Hoppy to be there because he's there for the end. But because of that, we just get less Cassandra. So I think that's a little disappointing because I like Cassandra. She's a fun villain. Croven is told that he is now just supposed to stall and goes in the form of a dragon and goes after our little group, where Noble then goes to fight him. And what do you think happens? Just then, Croven turns into his wizard form and goes to throw magical feathers, and it is caught by the swallow. And then, when he goes to throw a second one, the Shadow Prince appears, the shadow of the Crystal Prince, and he kills Croven. Croven dies. Croven is just dead by Croven, and everything's cool. Everything is good. Now the sparrow flies Maya to the castle in the land of South, and it is beautiful. It is a beautiful castle. Love how it is designed, and she gets to meet the Crystal Prince. But just then, Cassandra shows up with the power of the dark crystal, something that was probably talked about more in the anime, but in this movie is only mentioned within the past 10 minutes. The prince then, overcome with dread, surrenders the entire kingdom to Cassandra, lays waste to it, and says that there will be nothing but nightmares because she is a nightmare witch, the same way that Angela is a dream witch. Love that. Love that. Seems dark, spooky. And then Angela shows up. Maya begging her to fight and help. But Angela's like, no, girl, this is for you to do. You're strong enough. You have the power. Do it. And she does with the magical powers of friendship, kindness, and just not being a little brat all the time. Maya jumps to the top to fight Cassandra, and she manages to destroy the dark crystal. And while Cassandra is falling down, Maya catches her. And Cassandra says, "Let me go. Why are you trying to save me? Why are you doing this?" And Maya says, "Because no one deserves to die. You don't deserve that." And then Cassandra says, "You've grown a lot on your journey, haven't you, Maya?" And it turns out that Cassandra was working together with Angela. And it turns out all of this was the lesson. The entire time, Cassandra and Angela were working together to create this story for Maya to experience so she could learn to be a better person for her mother. Love that. It's so pretty and so sweet. And then we get this weird existential moment where the Crystal Prince says to Noble and Hoppy that they are just storybook characters and that it's coming to an end. And like Hoppy has like a moment where he's just like realizing everything. You know what? I kind of take it back. I feel bad for this poor boy. So, the prince turns the swallow into a golden swallow. I feel like I just need to sit on that for a second. Golden swallow. And he flies her out of the land of dreams, and Maya lives the rest of her life as a happy, loving person and loving her mother and loving the people around her. And her mother then never had a bratty daughter again. The end. Honestly, I feel weird looking back on this because not knowing that it was so many other episodes just chopped up into 80 minutes, I feel different knowing that. I feel like there is things missing. It becomes way more noticeable cuts and the random things that were probably going to be there. And even in the end, in the credits, we see some shots that we didn't see in the movie, like Cassandra sitting in the trees like this, watching over them. This is so creepy, but we don't get any of that. And there's something sad to that. Honestly, there's also something sad to the end of this story of all of the people and all of the creatures that Maya got to know are just fake in a story. And yeah, they changed Maya for the better, but we saw that they're sentient. We saw that they feel. It's a little existential. Ultimately, though, it's still one of my favorite things to watch, and it makes me so happy, especially as someone who loves magical girls. It feels like such a fairy tale magical girl story, and what's cooler than that? It's so fun, and I really love it. How much do you think a local town witch makes? I'm inquiring for me.